Hello, my name is Mari Saivahetta. When you are hearing this message and it is the day of the poster conference, I will probably be somewhere in Sweden, either high up all the way north of the polar circle or my office at the University of Umeå, CSAN department, with whom I am conducting this research project, or somewhere in between. This poster tries to convey the underlying concept of my research. A visualization, if you will. A visualization of the issue I try to tackle in my research project. Let me explain. The poster in front of you hasn't got a top or a bottom or a correct landscape or portrait position. Each side represents an element of my research issue, and they are all equally important. I do not know which way the people have decided to point upwards, but I know for sure that it is the wrong side, simply because none of the four symbols should be above the others. Choosing any of the aspects to sit at the top and thus literally above the other aspects is a distortion of the project and the culture I am studying. Yet I am obliged to conform to the common practice as laid out by Lek to produce a poster. And as it is a poster, it will be hung up on a wall or a poster holder or whatnot. However, a much better representation of my research project would be if you would just go to the poster, hang the poster off the wall, and simply lay it flat on the ground. Just by simply relocating the poster from the wall to the floor would do the issue I investigate significantly more justice. Yet, I assume the health and safety guys would not let me get away with that. This is exactly what my research is all about. The need for things to confirm the norms and how these norms sometimes do not fit. How sometimes external conventions are in violation of the essence of things. Trying to understand what happens to indigenous knowledge and culture when it is remixed with Western modernity, and in an echo of consumerization. Our science is a very fragile construct. Take the following example, for instance. The Western medicine of an English GP works very well in the context of a hospital where he or she can rely on a large array of high-tech tools such as CTs, MRIs, and an arsenal of pharmaceutical products. But take that skilled doctor and put him into the rainforest, and their ability to implement what he has learned is seriously impaired, and his doctorate becomes useless. Now you're gonna say that that's pretty unfair, and of course he won't be able to do much good without the tools he needs to practice his craft. But this is exactly what is being done with indigenous knowledge. If you try to assess the health of a forest, you use methods that you are most familiar with, such as a chemical contamination assessment, a biodiversity appraisal, or any other natural science-based approach that you have spent many years to perfect. But what if the people that live in that forest express the health of the forest in terms of how many fairies are dancing? That's not going to be any good in your academic peer-reviewed journal paper. Or is it? Well, look at it this way. In the same way that indigenous and local belief system is very situation specific, so is our natural science. If you begin to apply your disciplinary and scientific yardsticks to indigenous statements, local knowledge and culture becomes absurd. As absurd as the GP in the rainforest. The spiritual belief system that underpins indigenous worldviews is not just consciential. It is the manifestation of the local ecology and environment that emerged when these people encounter their nature, when indigenous culture is forced into Western systems, such as databases. There are some concepts that are difficult, or maybe impossible to convey in the narrow norms of academic writing and the boundaries established by the best practice of scholarship. I break down the artificial boundaries of indigenous and modern, traditional and contemporary, analog and digital, social construction and physical artifact, Western and Aboriginal, cyberspace and paper. The people I am looking at is the Sami people in northern Scandinavia, Europe's only remaining indigenous people. Their traditional culture and ethnic identity and Sami heritage is entangled with the traditional reindeer herding, which becomes increasingly more difficult to hold on to. I am trying to understand the notion of indigenous identity, individual identity, rights to identity, with the effort to digitalize and database culture in modernity.